in your professional opinion, where do you think it all went wrong? Like,
Yeah, that's an awesome question, and it's a very fair assessment. So, we actually had a team meeting about this on Monday night to kind of debrief and go over with the guys, because you're completely right, and as I said in the article, it was probably that whole process kind of led me to one of the most regretful "I told you so's" I've ever had to give in my, not that I said that to the athlete, in my career, because the system we put in place, and I put this in place
let me
back in
let me
July,
let me
and this is,
hang on. Let me ask you this real quick. When you say "I told you so," when it
mm-hmm.
all went down, was it more of an "I told you so," or was it more of a "damn, we should have tried to help her," even though it would have gone against our moral fibers?
No, no, it wasn't. We should have tried to help her, because the thing is, Dennis, with this, and as part of being a professional, something that this sport needs is that we need clear cutoffs. We need clear cutoffs, and the system that we've put in place, and that I've got with my team, and that the UFCPI use, and that the guys at John Moore's use, all the guys that do this, you need to have a system, because if you leave athletes to their own devices, they'll push the limits. So we need to very clearly put in place where, okay, this is a go ahead, you're at risk, and this is high risk, and once you hit this point, it's a solid no. And so where those numbers came in, and it wasn't even me that did the assessment, it's one of my guys, and I'll shout out to him, Jack Doherty is picked this up and prevented, probably, I think, that system that we use will probably, if it gets out, save a lot more athletes. Because what we need to do now, and the good thing about that, is to highlight these cutoffs and say, okay, this issue happened, yes, because you left it too late. You didn't have enough time to do this. And we had the system, like I said, green, orange, red. You hit that red zone where she was, that's our cutoff. Sorry, athlete A, professionally, we advise you against this. We can, as professionals, we offer up all this data and we say, okay, athlete A, these are the reasons why we think this isn't the best in the interest of your health, in the interest of your performance, both. And these are all the reasons. At the end of the day, you are paying us to give our professional opinion. This is what we think. Okay, athlete takes that information and says, thanks, no thanks, I'm going to go with someone. We say, okay, we advise against doing that because of these reasons, but we would do a professional handover, and your duty of care is no longer with us. We pass it on to this person, and we'll give this person whatever info they need if they need to reach out to us. And we have like a passover and handover system where we go, okay, do this. And then it's like, okay, as a professional within liability, I can't continue giving you advice because your duty of care is with this person. So yes, in that sense, a portion of the blame needs to go onto her and as an athlete. But then we need to go and look at this and go, okay, what are the factors that influenced her to take, probably, and I, without being boastful, one of the top teams who do this around the world, I would say. And probably we have probably systems that I've developed from, Clint Wattenberg and Reed Reel, who do this with the best fighters at the UFC, and John Moores, Carl Evans, James Morton, guys that I've used them as my mentors to develop this system. What are the reasons and the factors that have, for us to give us that advice and say, this is probably the most sound advice you can get? Why do you choose to ignore that? And what are the things that are influencing that decision? And that's where we come to this whole conversation of, it's the culture and the environment that surrounds this process. And we go, okay, I've worked with you for a long time. I know what I'm talking. I know that I know what I'm talking about. So why is it that you feel the need to ignore that? Are there coaches putting pressure on you to take this fight? Do you have this own constructed idea in your own mind that you need to take this fight on short notice? Is it a culture within the gym that you're fighting out of? Is it a bigger culture within, MMA within Australia? What is it that you felt the need? Okay, I need to take this fight, and I need to put, ignore all this data, and I need to put my health at risk and do this. So that to me is like, okay, well, there's issues there we probably need to dive into. And yes, there is blame there, but it's like, okay, yes, that is one portion of it, but what are the factors that are driving that? And then we go, okay, well, then that leads into what's the psychological issues driving this? Is there something else that's going on that, I don't know, I always say it's very hard to do psychological profiles and whatnot of people who actively and willingly want to go into a cage and get punched and kicked and put their body at risk, So it's inherently fighters are going to be high risk takers. So it's like we have to consider that. So it kind of all dives back in. It's like, to what I was saying, we need to develop a system, which our team has a system where we have these clear cutoffs, but it's a wider problem. There's an environmental problem, there's a cultural problem, there's a psychological problem that we need to consider, that these guys are very high risk taking athletes. There's a culture within gyms of, okay, you take a fight, you're a wuss, you're a pussy if you don't take that fight. You just make the weight. That's what fighters do. There's that. And then maybe there's pressure from teammates. Oh, I've made that weight in this short amount of time, so you can do it too. Coaches, be it same thing. Coaches, okay, like you've got to fight, like you haven't fought, you need to be more active, blah, blah, blah. So there's all those issues. And because, I'll pat Jack on the back, and I back him. Like I back his call when he was like, you know what, I don't think this is safe, and he was just following the system that we put in place. And we put that system in place to keep these guys safe. And I think this is an important point that my coach said, and he said this to me when I was chatting to him this morning about it. He goes, well, we've kind of given people from this level of qualification have given this. And like you said, if you get 9 doctors that say no, you'll find one that says yes. What's the responsibility of that person that said yes? And that's where we come in and we go, okay, well, maybe we need a better system to distinguish this. Maybe we just need all the doctors playing on the same field. Maybe we need to let the athletes, like there needs to be a better system where athletes can clearly distinguish, does this doctor, the 9 doctors that said yes, what are their qualifications and why are they saying, or said no, what are they doing? And then who's this guy that said yes? Like, how do I even figure out the difference between these two schools? Because it's a bit of a free for all right now.